Hi guys, so I thought I'd do a little quick video on the logitech g29 pedals. I'm having the potentiometer issues again. So my brake pedal is sticking on when I'm coming fully off the brake pedal, and I'm also getting like twitchiness with the accelerator as well, which could be linked to the brake pedal. But I'll show you a quick fix on how to fix these pedals. Like, it won't be a permanent fix. I'm looking at obviously getting another setup later on in the year, but for the meantime, this should hopefully sort it for like another 6 months or something. Firstly, sort of a few things that you'll need. So I've got some electrical contact cleaner. You can use any sort of brand of electrical contact cleaner, but make sure it is electrical contact cleaner because it is like alcohol based, I believe, so it evaporates. You'll also want some earbuds or cotton buds. I believe it's a 2.5 mil Allen key, a Phillips screwdriver or a crosshead, and a nice clean paintbrush for cleaning some of the dust off. So without further ado, we'll get into taking the pedals apart. So firstly, you need to take your pedals off. There's two screws in each pedal, which is an Allen key screw. So we'll take them off. I'll probably fast forward this video because everyone hates, it's a bit boring taking screws out. It do take a while. It's also a good idea to have like a little pot or something so you don't lose any of your screws, or if any of your animals decide to try and steal them. My cats, they seem to like to play with small metallic things, so now what you want to do is flip it over so you can get to these screws on the back. You don't have to worry about these 4, 8, 16 big screws. It's the multiple smaller silver screws that you want to take out. There should be 2 underneath your little carpet gripper thing. Mine have already been taken out, so I don't have to worry about them. But there is also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 screws that you'll need to take out before you can remove the cover. What it is, the contacts on the actual potentiometer between there's a little arm that swivels, and it basically sends a signal to your PS4 to say where the arm is on the contact, and that's how your brakes work. So that is, I believe that's all of the screws out now. One stuck in here. Now you should just be able to lift the case straight off. There is, you can see the wire is attached under here. So we've got 2 screws we need to take out there. Now looking at the wires, I am slightly concerned that maybe I've caught the wires when I put the pedals back together before, which I realise that can also give you some strange readings. It may also cause your pedals to start having the issue. So that's the top case off. And so what you're left with is this here. Now these, can't really see them, these here are your potentiometers. That's what you want to be getting to clean. Also inspect your wires for any splits. Now I have noticed they do appear to be slightly squashed in places, which is not ideal. It's not ideal. Anyway, so we want to disconnect the 3 wires that go to your potentiometer. I recommend using some like long nose pliers or something just to get it on there, because they can be a bit of a pain to get off. But you can sometimes just wiggle them off. There's one. It's just a little spade connector. Just remember the way they go back onto your pedal, onto your potentiometer. Right, so now you want to remove this actual unit, which is 4 screws underneath, 4 big black screws. Or if you're not confident at taking things apart and putting them back together, I'd suggest not taking them apart, because you could just make the issue worse. But if you've got a friend or a shop nearby that'd be willing to take it apart and have a look, Alternatively, just don't buy Logitech. But to be fair, I love the Logitech G29. It's been really good to me. The actual wheel itself is quite a solid wheel. It's a very good entry level wheel. It's just the pedals and the potentiometers in the pedals unfortunately let it down. This is, as I say, it's my second set that I'm on now. So send 4 screws out. Like this, we'll just lift out as so. There's a small earth-in screw there. There is your pedal unit. That is your potentiometer itself. Inside, we'll get a better look at it once I actually get it open. Use your little brush just to get rid of any other excess dust that you may see on the unit. Whilst you're in, might as well get a bit of clean out. Alright, should put them to one side. Now for the fun part. Now I've just remembered that I am going to need, so you'll need a small socket for these, and you'll need a larger Allen key for this side. So I'll just pause the video here and I will come back to you. Right, so I've got the extra Allen key, which is, well, it's a 5mm, and sockets. So I actually had an issue with my BMW, and I had to change a battery in the rain, and now my socket set's all soaking wet, which is great. I believe it's a 10mm socket, a trusty 10mm, and it's a 10mm socket. So we'll get the 10mm socket, and we can use just a little screwdriver attachment. We'll dry that out in a bit. Right, so just remove these 2 bolt screws. In fact, you might only have to remove one of them. I'm now thinking about it, I do think you have to remove both. So that's the first one. Second one. Right. So that just lifts out once you've done that. And there is, if you look inside there, if we can get yeah, you see that little, there's like a little retaining washer. You're going to need a little flathead to pry that off. Here. Try your hardest not to damage it. They are very flimsy. There's a little flap in there. If you can actually get on the little flap to pry it out, then that's a little bit better for you. But it is a bit of a pain to get it off. Right. That's your little retaining retaining washer. It's like a little spring washer. And then you've got a trusty brush again. Get a good old little dust in. Right, now this should. You've got your spring. There's a little spring in there. You've got a little spring. You have to remember just how it clips in, otherwise you won't get the whole springy movement of the potentiometer itself. Now that goes like that. So it will actually come off together like so. If you keep it like that, you shouldn't have trouble relocating the spring once you put it back together. Okay. Now we've got a little bolt washer in there. You could probably get a socket on it, but you can normally move it with a screwdriver. Well, there is a small spring washer behind, so I do think I may have to use. Is it 10mm? No, it's just not 10mm. In fact, I'm not actually even be able to. I have to get some pliers. So you want some pliers for that. Maybe you can use like a little spanner or something. Right, so I found a little 10 to 11mm spanner, and it's the 11mm side that you want. Just unscrew. You've got to be really careful with these as well, because there's a plastic thread underneath this washer, and you don't want to damage that thread because you won't be able to get the washer back on. Or you'll end up cross-threading it. That's the little washer that's there. And then you've got a little retaining clip which goes underneath the washer. It's like a little spring washer. Just give the thing another little dust out. Make sure there's no dust or any residue there. Right. Now that is your potentiometer. Now you've got 4 little arms on that side that you want to pry open. Just be careful not to snap them off when you're doing it. Ah, yeah. Bugger. It's not the easiest, but you can get a small flathead underneath and pry them up. Like so. Like so. Now, small part comes off. I can't remember. Now this should just slide off like so. And underneath, you have, it's hard to see the little arm? There's a little arm there that goes along like a ceramic half semicircle. Now it's that half semicircle and your little arm that gets gumped up with stuff. I just want to pull that off. Like so. I can already see on there, you can see like scoring marks. That is the issue. And what we're going to do is we're going to use some electrical contact cleaner and hopefully be able to clean the surface of that up without damaging it. So what I'm going to do is get some of your electrical contact cleaner. You want to spray it in the lid. Don't spray it directly onto the contacts because you can damage it. So you want to spray it into the lid like that, so you've got a nice little bit in the lid there, and it will evaporate, so you've got to be fairly sort of quick with it. And get one of your cotton buds, dip it in the solution, and then just gently, we want to wipe the surface contacts. You can see there's already, you see the nut coming off it. See that? Use the other side just to sort of dry it off. Okay. You can see it starting to sort of, you can still see the score marks, but it's getting better. So we're going to hit it again with a fresh cotton bud. Just try not to put too much pressure on it. Obviously you can afford a little bit of pressure, but not, you don't want to end up making any more score marks and it'll damage it further. So that is looking a lot better than what it was. So now we just need to reassemble it, which can be the challenging part, but I've done it before, so I'm confident I can get it back together without any issues. Just want to clean off any more of any dust that may have got in there. Pardon me. I'll just slurp coffee as well. What we'll actually do as well is on this, we're going to actually try and clean these little arms a little bit as well. They're the actual contacts that rotate on the ceramic contact itself. So it stands to reason they may also need a bit of a clean. Just, they're very, very flimsy arms, so try your hardest not to put any pressure on them if you can, because you don't want to end up bending them and then have to bend them back. As you can see, I'm being very, 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 very careful with it. And in fact, can't really see, there's a little bit of, if you'd be able to see that on the camera, there is a little bit of gump from off the, so that's that. Put that to one side. Just make sure all of your contact cleaner has evaporated from your surfaces before you start putting them back together. Alright, so it's actually the bigger arm that sits against the actual thing itself. And then it's this part here. Right. So that should be, if you're looking at it like that, there's a little cut out at the bottom there, and it should line up with them three spade connector pins. And then this slots back on like so. It shouldn't be too hard to relocate your things, and you just want to bend them little arms back down. Which can be a bit fiddly. as I said at the start of the video, this is only like a quick fix, so it'll only last. It'll last a while longer, maybe a few months longer or so. It is a process that you can repeat, but obviously, as you can see, it's very fiddly and it is a little bit time consuming. So once you've bent all your little pins back down, that's how your potentiometer should look again. Let's make sure that they're nicely thingied. And I believe that is the issue there. It's because there's a small gap there, and that's where your dirt and dust and hairs and whatnot will ingress. Right. You don't want to lose that either. That was one of my washers for the actual. Right, I'm going to find that. I'll find that in a minute. Right, so what we want to do is we now want to relocate the potentiometer onto here, like so. Then this bit, the rotation arm we'll call it, and the spring needs to be realigned. Cannot for the life of me remember. So I think it goes on like this. That's the one. So it relocates like that. And then you need to hook that little spring over this arm. Right, so with the spring in place, you should have the nice spring movement. Now you want to put. I was wrong. So first, it's not your little arm and spring. It's actually your retaining washers. So don't forget them. This little retaining washer and the little. Remember I said about the plastic threads and trying not to damage them. So put them back on. Oh, I think there's a kitty there. What are we doing? Right, so we put this back together like this. Our little spanner. Now you don't need to over tighten it. That's one thing I will say is don't over tighten it, because you probably will crush something, or you'll cross the threads and then you'll have issues when you go to try and take it off again. So that's that. Now the arm goes back on. Like so. Little spring flips over. A little arm there. So you've got that movement again. Right. And then this little bugger here. Little retaining washer, which is a pain in the bum, quite frankly. There's a little lip in there that helps it to retain its sort of springiness, and I'd advise bending it back outwards ever so slightly if you can. It makes your life a little easier. It seems like it doesn't want to bend out. Well, that little lip is basically what causes it to bite onto the. Right, so managed to get it back on. Just make sure it's on there nicely. No, that's on there. Now that's not going anywhere. That's perfectly fine. Right, and then we need to reassemble this pedal setup. So first things first, I need to find that washer. Okay, so firstly you want your 2 retaining bolts and 2 nylock washers, bolts, nuts, get there in the end. Right, so this will slot back in like so, and you'll want to line it up so that when it's come off, so that you're engaging the cogs inside there properly, because otherwise you won't get your brake pedal won't work basically. Right, so then bolt through just to hold it in place, and your second bolt might be a bit of a pain because obviously you've got this spring inside this unit here. That's going to give you some resistance when you try and compress it. There it is. I've done that. Allen key. No, I'm sure. That's the top one. Good, I'm on the bottom as well. Now the other thing you can obviously do as well is just literally switch this unit with your clutch unit. You can do a direct swap, change the springs inside, obviously swap the springs over as well, and that will work. I've already done that, so this is the only reason why I'm actually doing this, because I was in a league and I had to basically end my racing in that league, which was coming to an end anyway, but there was no way that I could continue to be competitive within the league with my brake pedal sticking on like it was. I was literally sort of pressing it, not even full pressure, and it was coming on fully like max braking, so I was, as you can imagine, I was coming to a stop. Oh shit. No, I think we're going to have to bring this video to an end because I think it's becoming a little bit long. I'm going to try and trim it down. Obviously you saw me take the pedals apart, they go back together exactly the same way. So yeah, hopefully this will help you out a little bit. I shall do an update video testing the pedals, making sure they actually work correctly again. See you on the next video.